Okay, Lorelai made a good point. We need to go deeper into these 3 points of the Torah. What if 2 of the points are holding and 1 of them is not holding? Meaning that it's good for the Jewish people, it's good for God, but it's not good for you. Okay. I don't know, but I will give you the possibilities. Either they have to every action has to fulfill all of them. That's the best. Well, I'll tell you, that's the best. Every action should fulfill all of the points, and anything less is less. We're on a path of self-refinement. So where does I just looked in the Me'er Shalach and it sees where he learns it from. He learns it from the book of Deuteronomy, the Parsha Kitetze, where it talks about sending away the mother birds before you take the chicks. You're walking along the road. You happen to see a nest. Oh, it's a bird's nest, and there's chicks there, or eggs there. You want to take the eggs, you send away the mother bird before you take the chicks. This is ethical, by divine and human standards. The mother has to do with the principles of the Torah. What are the principles of the Torah? The principles of the Torah are these 3 very points. Everything you do is good for God, good for the Jewish people, and good for you yourself. Now, there's one of the principles of the Torah is that you don't die for a mitzvah, except for 3 cases. In other words, someone holds a gun to your head, says drive on Shabbos. You drive on Shabbos rather than be killed because you spend 1 Shabbos, you break 1 Shabbos in order that you may keep many other Shabbos. That's also true for saving a life in all cases on Shabbos. If it's life-threatening, not a bowling game, not a bowling championship, that's not exactly life-threatening. I'm talking about a real life and death situation. Then, or even if a child is sick, even it's wouldn't be threatening for an adult, you still could pick up the phone and call the doctor, according to Orthodox law. But a child under the age of 13. But so you break 1 Sabbath in order to keep many other Sabbaths. However, if somebody holds a gun to your head and says, kill Lenny or I'm going to kill you, then you don't kill Lenny, you die in his place. Why? Because who says Lenny's blood is any thicker than your blood, or your blood is any thicker than Lenny's blood? The other one is, if someone holds a gun to your head and says, have an illicit sex act, you'd rather die than have the illicit sex act. The third point is, if somebody says, go to Mass, go bow down before the idol in the church, or I'm going to kill you, then you die rather than do that. Many of our holy brothers and sisters of the past have given their life up rather than do such a thing. So these are the 3 cases where you rather die than keep the Torah. So the Me'er Shalach says, it says in the Torah, send away the mother bird. Send away these principles. In other words, send away the principle that says that you die rather than just for these 3 mitzvahs. You die just in these 3 cases. Send away that principle if you truly know what your 1 mitzvah is. What is your 1 mitzvah? I will give you an example. We're not supposed to die for any other prohibitions except these 3 major cardinal Jewish prohibitions of incest, or including illicit sex acts, or murder, or idolatry. However, if you know what your mitzvah is, you would die for that mitzvah too. Example, Rabbi Akiva was in jail from the Romans. He died for the hand washing. In other words, he was willing to risk his life to wash his hands ritually, nitilas yadayim. He was not required to at that point. According to the Me'er Shalach. You may have your own opinion, of course. So the other one is Daniel. In the book of Daniel, Daniel gave over his life, risked his life in order to pray. He didn't have to pray. According to Jewish law, he should have not prayed and saved his life. But he did it anyway. Why did he do it? Another example, Mordechai. Mordechai in the book of Esther. Rather than bow down to Haman and his idol, which was inscribed upon him, or bound to his arm or whatever, rather than bow down to Haman, or he himself thought he was a god. So rather than bow down to Haman, he refused. He should have, okay, well that's idolatry. That's one of the three. So clearly, it wasn't that Haman thought he was a god. It wasn't that he had an idol tied to him. It was simply because giving honor to evil people, perhaps. Rather than, he should have given honor to the evil man, the Hitler of his own generation, rather than die. But no, he refused to. So in other words, these three cases, they're adding on one personal mitzvah. Now the Meir Shloch says, be very careful not to invent this mitzvah up yourself. It's from the words of the Meir Shloch, it seems that it has to come to you from much, I don't know, in other words, it can't be something you decide yourself and just go ahead and do. It has to be something that comes to you, and you know from a force greater than yourself that this is your mitzvah. If so, you send away the mother bird, meaning the principle of I'm only going to die for these three things, and you would actually die for these three things and another one. That if somebody prevents you from doing this other mitzvah, as in examples of Mordechai with bowing down, and Haman, and with Daniel with prayer, and with Rabbi Akiva with ritual hand washing, mitzvah sedayim, that they would rather die than not do these mitzvahs. And so should it be that everybody should find their own mitzvah, find the mitzvah that's connected to you in the root of your soul, and in so doing, we will bring us ever closer to the building of the Beis HaMikdash and the coming of the Messiah and the heralding in of the one and only Messianic era. Thank you very much.